Hello and welcome to this week's Pubcast. Hope you guys are well. We're back to a full complement this week of 6 of us. We're looking forward to a few beers and some interesting chat. So yeah, can't wait. So what have we been up to this week? Let's start with you, Dave, because you look like you've had a busy week. What is there anything you want to tell us about?
I literally just got back down off the Snowdon walking path and only just made it in time. They bollocksed up the weather forecast, unfortunately. They said it was going to be rainy till about 10 o'clock and then plenty of interesting light. Didn't stop raining till 3:30. It was stair rods the entire time. However, it gave me an opportunity to test my new brolly, and it was brilliant. I kid you not, it was absolutely brilliant. I had it strapped onto here, so I was hands-free with it.
Oh, aye.
I couldn't keep the rain off the lens because it was blowing in underneath, all this misty stuff, but it kept me dry, and my kit, when it was just attached to me, didn't get wet, so yeah, that was all right, but I'd rather not have to test it again anytime soon if I can avoid it.
Was it busy today?
No, really quiet. I mean, most of the counties around about are locked down. The reason I bobbed out today was because obviously we're going to be locked down shortly, so I thought I'll make the most of it while I can. But no, it was lovely. It was just like normal times. It was like a normal sort of mid-October, as you'd expect. 2 or 3 people on the entire path. Perfect.
Oh, lovely.
Sounds good.
Did you get any images, Dave?
Well, I've had a quick look at the raws. I won't lie. I kept you lot waiting while I was checking them out.
Priorities, Dave.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I think 1 or 2 might be all right. The problem's going to be putting them together for a vlog, because the filming was a real headache, because I only had the one brolly, and so the trouble is my video camera's not waterproof. So I was trying to, I got a clamp. I clamped the brolly to the tripod, but the wind kept catching it. So in the end, I just ended up holding it. So it's one of these run-and-gun Mally-styly ones.
Oh, exciting.
Yeah.
The best type, some people might say. The best type.
Well, yeah, quite. I must admit, I do admire that sort of technique. I tend to be stick the tripod up, stand around in front of it like some Muppet from the Antiques Roadshow. So, yeah.
How high did you make it, Dave?
Oh, I only went up to the first hanging valley up at Cwnclan. That's all I was intending to do. I really wanted to shoot the waterfalls because I knew there'd be lots of water on them. So I thought, well, I go up there. By the time I get to the top, the light should start, and I'll kind of gradually work my way down the valley, end up in the forest at the bottom. So I did, except that it was tipping down the whole way. So, I mean, I only got one shot on the tripod of the water. So everything else was handheld, so a fast shutter speed, unfortunately.
Sounds good.
So there was but I did manage to get one shot at a 1/10 of a second.
I bet the colour in the forest down the bottom is absolutely fantastic this time of year, isn't it?
It is. It's coming nicely. The problem is, about this time next week it'll be perfect, and I can't go then.
Should have set up a webcam.
Well, does your drone go that far? What's the range of the drone like? Can you get that over there?
I think the furthest I've had it is checking whether or not my boat is still afloat.
That's a good idea, actually. That's a good use for a drone.
It saves me walking down there. I just buzz it down and just check on everything.
Very true. Check for intruders as well, can't you? Any rogue sheep knocking about? Or... So, anyone else been up to anything exciting this week?
What have we not done? Pubcast. Action.
It's a bit late now, mate.
Yeah. Don't worry. We'll just cut all that stuff with Dave. Don't worry about that. That'll just be gone. We'll start from now.
Well, we got that special off of Amazon.
It was a gift.
Have you ordered that specially for the Pubcast?
No, it was a gift. So
from who? Who's bought you that?
I know. He's a gent.
Who?
Raymond McBride, my good pal. Boaty McBoatface from Mel's Beach himself bought it for me. I was quite. It was a good giggle.
Friend to the stars.
Clappers.
I've not got. What?
You what?
You alright? You alright, mate? You still with us?
Me?
Who?
Yeah.
Me?
Why? What's happened? Have
You
I
went,
done?
no, you sort of went, I've not got,
Oh, no, I had both earbuds in, which was lovely for listening to Dave's dulcet tones, but the moment I had to talk, I felt like Kajagoogoo.
You're too shy.
I haven't got enough hair for that, mate.
God, Kajagoogoo, that's a long time ago.
Classics, yeah.
Too shy.
What else did they sing but Too Shy Shy?
That.
Come on, Gary.
I remember they had a
Come
song
on.
called The Big Apple.
Never-ending story. Oh, no, that was
That was Limahl. That was the lead
Limahl.
singer.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they had a song called The Big Apple, which I think was the follow-up to Too Shy.
Life in the Big Apple.
And then I'm pretty sure after that they just died a death, and then Limahl
That's
left and
surprising.
had big hair all on his own.
Great bass player. You slap and tickle it.
I used to like the bass player from
Level,
Culture Club.
is it level 40?
Oh, level 42. What's his name?
Level
Mark.
42.
Mark King.
Mark King. That's it.
King.
Yeah.
Ledge.
Yeah, he was a proper old
Oh.
slap. He was a proper slapper.
Always running from his family, though, wasn't he?
He was, yeah.
Johnny Marr. Big Smith.
Johnny Marr, Mark King on bass, Brian May on guitar, and the drummer out of
Def Leppard.
it was like you reached inside my mind. And
Who on
pulled
vocals
out-
or? Who on vocals?
Oh yeah, vocal. Oh, it'd have to be. Oh God, I forgot his name. Oh, that's shocking.
John Lydon.
No,
Ian Brown.
Led Zepp.
Robert
Robert
Joe
Palmer.
Dolce.
Was it Robert
The
Plant?
Robert Plant.
Robert Plant.
Yeah.
Robert Palmer.
Sorry,
What did you say?
Robert
Roger
Palmer.
Daltrey.
No, Joe Dolce.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
Oh, we're not back there again. Oh God, let's not go back. We were there last week, weren't we? With Joel.
What did I ever tell you? My
No.
cousin married the drummer in the Clash, the old drummer in the Clash,
wow.
Strum. No,
Tubber Heathen.
no, his lead singer on the Strum.
Topper Headon.
Wow.
I used to
Flame to
work. I used to work with the brother of Mick Taylor, who was in the Stones originally.
Then Duran then.
That's it.
I was saying, I thought it was Duran, Nick Taylor.
No, Mick Taylor.
Mick.
Oh, Mick, sorry.
Yeah, Mick Taylor. He was in the Stones originally. That's it. That's all I got. I went to. I'll tell you one. I'll tell you one story. I went to a wedding last 2 years ago of my mate, and there was a guy there, ginger-haired guy, and I said to him, "It's not Ed Sheeran, ginger-haired guy." And I said to him, "Excuse me, mate, I'm looking for the Crump wedding." He said, "Oh, I'm at that. It's just through there." And I went, "Oh, thanks very much. Cheers." And the guy who was with me goes, "Oh, that's that bloke off Taskmaster. Have you ever watched Taskmaster?"
No.
Oh, well, see, exactly. I feel validated now because I ain't got an clue who he was.
Is
Some
that
ginger-haired
the,
guy,
Dave,
comedian.
the Dave one with the big
Yeah.
tall guy out of.
Yeah.
Is that Matt?
In
What's
Between
wrong with
Us.
him? Yeah, in between us.
Yeah.
Ah,
Well, that's
no.
good.
I've pissed next to some important people.
You've what? Pissed next to them?
Yeah,
Who?
couple of famous people.
Who?
Yeah, I
Bet
have.
Lynch?
One was a guy called Damon Albarn.
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
That was at the old Wembley. I went in for a piss at half time and he was stood next to me. I didn't ask him for an autograph.
No.
And Ian McCulloch.
Oh, wow.
Anybody? Malion remember
Ian
Ian
McCulloch
McCulloch?
of. Oh, God.
Echo and the Bunnymen.
Echo and the People, a strange covered a Doors song was one of the
Yes.
famous songs.
Sorry, I had my arse pinched by Alan Carr once.
Keep that quiet, James.
Yeah, is that all?
BAFTAs.
Oh, wow.
At the BAFTAs.
Oh,
BAFTA TV Awards.
What
Yeah.
were you doing at the BAFTAs?
Well, that's a past that I've not disclosed.
I like this.
I was lucky enough to get a ticket from one of the sponsors because we were supplying things for the
Print.
Pubcast for the BAFTAs. So we went to the actual filming and then to the after show party as well.
Nice.
But, it was absolutely brilliant. You can imagine like every single
Yeah.
person that you saw is somebody that you're used to seeing on the box. We actually stood talking to Bruce Forsyth for 20 minutes, just me and the wife chatting away to him. He's such a nice guy, and we were
It
chatting
was
away
nice
to
to
him.
see him, was it?
It was really
To
nice
see
to
him
see him.
nice.
To see him nice, yeah.
Was
Yeah,
he,
it was
was he
just
with his
amazing, but the
wife?
after
Was
show
he with
party
his
was-
wife though? Because you don't get nothing for a pair.
A higher or lower, yeah. But that was great fun. But after show party, because they're all drunk, they all get absolutely larried. and just seeing some of these people that you normally see on the telly just lose it. It was hilarious.
I think at the end of the day, they're just normal people, aren't they? They're just normal people like the rest of us,
Yeah.
So,
Liam Gallagher once pointed me out in a crowd, by the way. Liam Gallagher, Oasis concert.
So pointed you out in a crowd.
Yeah. So south of France, went to see Oasis 95. And I went intentionally. Me and a girl were seeing then. I wore my Man City top intentionally. I hate Man City, but obviously they're big Man City fans. Thought I'd shuffle to front, and it goes out. This next song goes out to the lad with a Man City shirt. Supersonic. Like that.
Oh, fair play.
Brilliant.
I've got a story as well. And
Go on
you won't believe this. I once spent an evening with Brian Blessed.
Did it rub off?
Looking in the
No,
mirror.
hang on a minute. Do you mean your mum? Do you mean your mum once spent an evening with Brian Blessed?
Yeah.
My mum was there as well. I was only 15 at the time, and we were at the opening of oh God, what was it called? The Giant.
Flash Gordon.
No, he did some voices for Cosgrove Hall, and it was for the opening of Big Friendly Giant, an animation. And Jason
Roald Dahl,
yeah. Jason. What do you know? What
Manfred?
I need to go and get my head checked. What's he?
Jason Priestley.
Only Fools and Horses.
David Jason.
David
David Jason.
David Jason was there laughing and joking with Brian Blessed, and I was just stood there looking at them both going, wow. So maybe a bit of him jumped into me. No comments, he's a nice guy, Brian.
Did your mum look sheepish around him? Was it? Do you feel like there was something she was trying to tell you?
I was already born though, so
yeah, I know, but she might have like, this is your dad.
earlier. No,
Right, no, okay. Just
I
checking.
wish
Oh,
like.
Darren, have you got any claims to fame?
Well, I used to do a lot of, being a carpenter, and I'd done a lot of work in Harvey Nichols shop fitting back in the day. And I must admit, there was loads of famous people that used to come in here. But I suppose the most famous person I ever saw was Princess Diana.
Oh, trumps. Top trumps.
Yeah, I mean, I think I've kind of been into Harvey Nichols, but it's all kind of open plan, so there's all concessions. And where we was working, we put up a hoarding around this particular section so people couldn't see us working, and the store could carry on opening. And someone said, Princess Diana's out there. And we kind of got up on some steps, and we looked over the top of the hoarding, so you could just kind of see our noses and our eyes. And she kind of looked around, and there was like 5 or 6 builders just kind of lined up looking at her, and she just looked at us and she said, "Should you not be doing some work?" With a big smile on her face. And I think all of us just went but yeah, there was Shirley Bassey was in there, and there was loads of people.
Well, my claim to fame, I can't beat any of you guys. I once got told to f*** off by Paul Shane. So,
Nice.
Yeah, because I was about 15. He was doing something in the Key Theatre in Peterborough, and I saw him wandering through town, and I went up to him, "Heidi hi!" and he went. And I went, okay, all right. Not a good idea then to do that. So
I once stood at the side of the Crankies. Remember the Crankies?
oh yeah.
Yeah.
So the Crankies were in town in Bradford,
Dangerous
playing at the
times.
Alhambra, and they're at this jewellery shop. I was looking in the window, and all of a sudden she stood. She's a she, obviously, big leopard skin coat, and she's about 2 foot tall. Like, absolutely amazing. Oh, Van Damme Dorsey, Jimmy. That's what she said.
Does any of
She
you
didn't really.
remember Just Good Friends? This is going back kind of probably about 30 years ago.
Oh yeah.
Do you ever remember that programme, Just
Yeah.
Good Friends?
Yeah.
There
Paul
was, I
Nicholas,
think,
yeah.
We're scraping
Paul
the barrel now,
Nicholas
though, aren't we?
and Jan Francis.
That's right, Jan Francis. Yeah.
I was working at a place called Pickwick Studios, and I was only about 18, 20 years old, and I was locked in the kitchen with Jan Francis while she was dressed as a chicken. And that was the most surreal experience, because it was just me and her, and I was just thinking, that's Jan Francis from Just Good Friends. and she's chatting away to me, you know, and I'm just, all I could see was, you're dressed as a 5'5" chicken.
The thing is, right now, she's probably saying to somebody, do you know what, I was once dressed as a chicken, and there was this hunky young builder, and I thought, if only I had a mini skirt on, I'd have had him.
Back in the day, mate, not anymore.
Oh, I think he's on the Pubcast, actually.
It's just brought me into a little caveat that, although we're not going to talk much about it, I reckon we should all use the Photoshop thing. Have you seen it with the neural engine? We could make Darren look like Tom Selleck. We could take it back to that day when he was in his prime, in his youth.
Oh, me or Tom Selleck in their prime?
I reckon you look like Tom Selleck when you was younger.
Do you reckon?
Yeah.
Because he's got a beard.
Yes. That's all he's got to go on. That's it.
Yeah. But the neural engine on Photoshop, I had to play around with it.
What's it do?
So basically, you can smooth faces, you can do all these different like kind of arty effects, but there's a series of effects that'll let you change your smile, make you angry, make you sad, and you can manipulate. But you can 3D move a face as well. Even though it's a photograph flat, it'll computationally put in.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Max Headroom.
Crazy. So we could all do one of us all and make it look like we would when we were younger. It would be interesting.
It's quite that.
I prefer how I look now, thanks very much.
I bet you was dashing.
I look
Dashing
like
with your bolero on, Gary.
No, do you know what, right? When I was younger, I used to get called two different people. One was Russell Grant and the other was Nigel from EastEnders. So I'm quite happy with how I look now. Thank you very much. I'll stick with that. The guy he's in Holby. Russell Grant was all right. You know what I'm talking about, Russell Grant. You're not Russell Brand.
Oh, horoscopes. Yeah.
Oh, if you were
moving on to Pisces.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
I know.
Wasn't the best look with the girls.
You should have your own show, you birds. You really should.
It won't last. Be alright in the 70s.
Yeah, you'd have been fine in the 70s, pushing the 80s. Nowadays, no chance.
Jim Davidson Burns.
Believe me, the amount we've had to cut of him, you wouldn't even believe. You wouldn't even believe. Most of it at his own request. Anyway, moving on swiftly. We're going to have a little chat this week about Landscape Photographer of the Year, because the results have been announced and we've all probably, I hope we've all perused the images that have won and some of them that were commended. What do we think about the winner and some of the other photos in there?
It's outstanding.
I like it. I really do.
Off the scale.
Gary Frost. Gary Frost.
Chris
Frost. When I first saw it, when I first saw it, I thought, that looks pretty. Why is it outstanding? Why is it standing out? It looks quite a normal image, but then you study it, and it brings you into it. Yeah. It just invites you in, doesn't it? You can probably pick it apart. Not ticking the boxes, but that's the whole point of it, isn't it, really?
There's an authenticity about it.
It's a sort of image you can put it on your wall, blow up massively, you can just stare at it for hours and hours. And that, for me, is just a great image. And it's got a little light at the end as well, in the middle, where you can just escape through it.
I think Charlie described it as something that had no visible signs of human or anything, and it's quite mysterious and quite he described it on the lines as something quite mysterious and inviting, which is
certainly got the mood.
What are the white flowers in it?
Garlic.
Is it? Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Wow, garlic.
But yeah, it had mist, didn't it? Mist makes it.
Yeah. No, it's beautiful.
We actually had a comment this week from Julian Heritage, who said that this year's landscape photography winners are quite heavily processed, a lot of them, and I felt that was one that wasn't. That was very natural looking, I thought, and
I think there's probably a bit of split toning gone on there, but because the highlights are very little bit green.
When I originally looked at it, I felt the same as James. I was a bit like, it's a great shot, but what's there that's drawn those judges? Because I do know that I'm not sure if it works for landscape photographer of the year, but there's a lot where you've got the judges in there, and it's sort of a yes, no, yes amongst the judges. And if they get more no's than yeses, they're just instantly gone. And I looked and thought, well, what's special about that one, that when they're going through thousands of images, that they would have gone, yes, all gone, oh yeah, we'll keep that one. But it is a beautiful image.
It's a nice angle, isn't it? It's got down really low, and that seems to be a path of that garlic that leads you directly to the gap at the back where the eye is meant to go to. And because of that low angle, I think it is inviting you, as you say, James, just to walk down that avenue.
It's simple. It's just simple and clean. It's just
it is.
Being a massive Charlie fan, and not saying he picked it, but there's always something about the images that are attached to Charlie that he likes or that he produces himself that has a unique quality. There's something different, so the slant. Then he'll have something that's quite angular, something that's geometry. There's a lot of geometry.
Do you know what's key, Mally, there? Such interrupt. You know what's key?
Yeah, it's fine.
Repetition.
Yes.
The repetition, the shapes of the garlic.
Yes.
And that's what's key. Yeah. And also the
but
verticals.
But there's always a certain feel. If you look back and you look at his work and look at other people's work, there's this one kind of motif amongst all those images. Even though they're all in completely different places, they have this kind of, it draws you in, it attracts you, it makes you don't quite know why as well. When you first see it, you go, oh, I like that.
This is just exactly it, though, isn't it?
But I think looking at this image now, I mean, there's quite a lot going on in this image when you look kind of further back. But there's nothing in this image that I feel that's like really kind of jumping out at you. It's as James was, it's a lovely image to look at, and then you start looking through it and you start picking out little subtle details here and there. I could spend quite a long time just looking at this image.
Yeah,
and I think that's quite nice, you know, when you get a quite a busy image, but it's not
messy, is it?
Yeah.
It's busy, but it's not messy. It doesn't look messy.
It's just nice. It's a nice soft image.
It puts you in the right mood.
Yes, it does.
I think it helps that the wild garlic in the foreground is all pristine. Each bulb of flowers is perfectly spherical. There's none that are drooping or dying. There's no an odd brown one, and I think that helps. I think that the fact that it's all so pristine
and clinical
is wonderful.
I think as well, the one thing that I really like the most probably about this image is when I first looked at it, I thought that's attainable for me. That image is attainable, and for everyone here. It isn't like I've had to climb to the top of a mountain and get something during a snowstorm. It's just, it's just an image, a beautiful image of a woodland glade with the wild garlic that any one of us could have stumbled upon. I'm not saying he's probably gone back there loads of times to get that shot, but it's something that's attainable for many, many photographers. Whereas
I wonder if the photographer that put it in thought, well, anybody could do this, but I'll stick it in anyway and see what happens. Because, as you say, the fact that there isn't some great big drama going on in it you'd kind of think somebody's had a bit of a punt on it and probably got the result and thought, blimey.
A lot of his work is similar. A lot of his work is very similar vein, and it's kind of a theme he has. And he shot it on a D7500, which is a crop sensor Nikon.
Yeah, that's not exactly high end, is it?
No.
But that's just reduced the value of it.
But looking at this image, as you guys were talking, I was just looking at it. What do we kind of like about this image? And actually, I've just realised that apart from, as you look at the image on the right hand side, there is obviously a steep drop off. But apart from that, there is nowhere in this image where you can't see that wild garlic. So there's no bald patches. So it looks as if the garlic just goes on forever.
Yeah.
And I think that's what they might have liked about this. If you look on the top left-hand side, you can still see it in the distance, small as it may be, but it's still there. So it just looks like this blanket of flowers just goes on forever.
It's quite funny because I went out this summer, so a very similar scene, and made a right pig's ear of it. It is a harder shot to get than it looks. I think that's a big thing about its simplicity of the shot, but it's an extremely well lit, well processed as well. It's not that easy to get that shot,
Gary, you were saying earlier that this is in your view, and therefore that means that people have got freedom to add more processing or manipulate the images and things like that. Is that right?
As far as I'm aware, and this is from when I entered it, because I entered this 2 or 3 years ago. The classic view is you cannot do anything with that image other than your standard edits. So you can change the contrast, the light, the darks, etc., etc. You can use a panoramic, but you can't add or take anything out of the image. So you can't clone. You can't go, there's a little bit in the foreground here, I'll just clone that out. But in the your view, you can clone bits and pieces out. And my understanding was, but like I say, I'm probably wrong. My understanding was that you couldn't win Landscape Photographer of the Year with a your view image. It had to be a classic view image. But this one is in the your view category, looking at if you look down at the categories on the website. So I don't know, unless they've changed the rules or unless that it was my misunderstanding, then yes, this was in a your view. So you may find that there may be some bits and pieces taken out of there or added in.
Yes, maybe he has tidied it up, which is why it does look so clean and pristine.
Yeah.
He may have taken out those brown patches, Dave, you said, that's not in there. I don't know. It doesn't, take anything away from it, but it's just interesting why it's in that category then.
So, just to mention as well, Neil Burnell in there is
black and white.
Some wonderful commended, and the black and white winner.
Oh, the trees
the tree
called Fantasy, Neil, black and white winner.
Yeah,
in dark mode.
Oh, sorry, right, the black and white section.
Infrared.
Yeah, that's clearly infrared, isn't it?
Yeah,
but the processing of that image,
beautiful,
just stunning. To be fair though, there's not many images here, and commended and highly commended, that they're just wow. It's a pleasure to look at.
I have to say, I think in an earlier podcast I was quite critical of Landscape Photographer of the Year, and I still have to say you do still see the same names in it, but the standard, the level of photography demands, I think, certainly for me looking through these, that those names and those images are in it. So fair play, and I hold my hands up and say, if I've misjudged, then I apologise. But yeah, I mean, looking at this one from Neil, I mean, I absolutely love Neil Burnell. Love his work. I think he's just a fantastic photographer. Whatever he takes an image of, it just works.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what image that stands out for me. So I've just let me just go back to, and that is Jamie.
Thank you,
Williamson.
It didn't end it, but appreciate it.
Jamie Williamson, Shaped by Wind and Wave, and it's going back to what you said, that image is almost obtainable by anybody. You don't have to go to the top of a summit, as you say, Gal, in snowy conditions, and it's just a very simple shot of the broken fence and the marram grass and the clouds above it, and that is a shot that is obtainable for most photographers. But I just think, wow, that is a cracker of an image.
Yeah, it is a nice shot. While we're in black and white as well, sorry, I'm jumping on, I probably shouldn't do, but there's another one in there from Jason Hudson that I absolutely love as well.
Jason's shot with the tree in the centre over at Eden Valley.
Yeah. But sorry, Dan, going back to your gate, because that is a cracking shot. Really nice. Reminds me of that one that Owen Clark took, but obviously this is mono, and his was colour, wasn't it, with the broken gate, the leaning gate.
But I just think, when you look at that image, the one that I'm referring to, with the broken fence, I mean, there's not, there's not a lot going on. There's not like this huge kind of vista and leading lines. I just think it's such a powerful image. This broken fence with the marron grass. You can see the wind is obviously howling with all the grass is kind of bent over and the clouds. And I tell you what, if I was to have taken that, I'd be straight down the Framers.
Yeah, Rhode Island's as well. Rhode Island's in that category. James, that's one for you, that cocker.
Yeah, I'm gonna have a stab at it next.
Cairngorms.
Oh yeah, Tones of Winter. The portrait one.
It's a rare
and then one that I as well. I know I'm going on a bit, taking over here. David Southern, Kitty Wake breeding colony, Northumberland. That's a unique shot as well. I quite like that.
Which one's that, Manny?
That's the one with the seagulls in shelves lines.
Yeah.
That is
the abstract one.
That's gorgeous. That's a great shot. But then, is that landscape or is that wildlife?
Well,
I mean,
wildlife in the landscape.
Yeah, I mean it's an absolutely
black
gorgeous
and white,
shot.
So I guess it doesn't matter because it can be street or anything.
Well, it's landscape photography of the year, isn't it?
Yeah, but there's some shots there where there's a road spinning with a drone shot. It could be debatable if that's landscape by Kieran Hanlon. That's a nice shot as well. The drone shot. I noticed this year as well. There's quite a few drone shots in there, which is opening things up. I think that's I quite like that. That it's opening things up to other forms of photography.
Well, it's a more popular genre now, isn't it? A tool to use. So yeah, you'll see more of them.
See, there's one in the black and white section, Dave. One of Newborough Beach there. Did you see that?
I'm just looking at it. I've just clicked on that. Yeah.
Yeah, I must admit, I think Nev Cartledge's Trees in the Snow is the outstanding picture for me.
I agree, 100%. Yeah, that was my winner actually. Overall.
Treat that. What a treat.
And that was in classic view, was it, Nevs?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember the vlog to that, and it was a moment.
Yeah.
Like David says, it's awesome.
Yeah. No, it is, isn't it? It's very, very simple, but yeah, really pleasing to the eye. Lovely, virgin snow as well. Lovely,
beautiful shot.
That's just sparse and just minimal, and just right, isn't it? It's just right.
Yeah, it's lovely.
I'm not sure that's my overall winner, to be honest. My overall winner is Lee Dory's one that won the classic view.
Yeah.
That is just a phenomenal. The atmosphere in that shot, which is the trees with the reflections in the sort of muddied path or the puddled path kind of. I just think that's fantastic. That shot, so atmospheric. Everything that's got everything going for it. That shot.
Yeah. When the reflection.
This is why judging or competitions is so subjective. Now, don't get me wrong. You're right, Gal. It's a lovely shot. The way that reflection in that puddle of that tree, but I would never have picked that as my overall.
I want it on.
As you know, I don't like a typical area. Although they're great to shoot, I always favour something that's a little bit like, where is that? It could be anywhere. It could be a woodland round corner from you. And when we went up lakes and was at Coniston, I went into this private woodland and there was moss growing up the trees, and the oak trees were all very straight. So I've picked my winner last week. This week, was it Wednesday? Straight away I went for the lighthouse and the water, but I was stimulated by it visually. It's an awesome image. I know Dave's laughing and I know why, but the one I'm picking is Neil Burnell's in classic view of the trees with the moss growing up them, because
the pillars.
It could be anywhere, that, and the depth and the fact that there's nothing else showing but these trees going off in this order. It's incredible. That's my winner.
Okay, can I, rather than saying what we do like, now I'm not saying I don't like this image, but before some of you guys joined, I think there was just me, Gary and Jamie at the time. Now there was one image that really surprised me, and that is it's a classic photo of the boathouse on Oldswater.
Duke of Portland.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with the image. It's a lovely image, but it's just been shot to death. It's even in the guidebooks, and it just surprised me that image actually crept in. Just because
that's a very good take of it, though.
Yeah.
We've seen the tones and that, and the colours.
it is a lovely image, a beautiful image. And whoever shot that must be very proud of it. It just surprised me that a judge would pick that when it's been shot 10,000 times.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah, it just shows you, though, doesn't it? It's done very well. It's very well executed.
I think it's fair to say, though, that the judges don't watch YouTube, so they probably don't see that as often as the likes of us do.
True.
Oh, I don't know. It's in guidebooks, mate, isn't it? I mean, it's everywhere.
No, I'm not disputing that. I'm just saying that a lot of the images that we see a lot of is because people are vlogging it because they can park on the side of the road and get the shot.
Yeah, I suppose so. Yeah.
To be fair, if you wanted to take a shot of that Duke of Portland boathouse, you couldn't really pick much better conditions than that, could you?
No.
It's a frosty morning. You've got mist on the lake. You've got some gorgeous colour in the sky, reflective light on the boathouse, great reflections. Everything is there, isn't it, that you want?
Yeah. Equally, though, you couldn't really pick a different composition because you're kind of restricted to where you're going to go. So that one's all about the conditions, isn't it? I guess.
Yeah.
You could
same as the Lone Tree at Lamberris.
Yes. Or the Langdale Pikes from Home Fell by Martin Burks. Yeah. But the light is just wonderful.
That's really well edited, isn't it?
One that stood out for me was Stuart McLennan's shot.
Yeah.
And the reason I like it is because of the depth. I love the strong foreground. I love the light on those bent reeds in the foreground.
Yeah. Mirroring the tree.
The whole. I just think that's a lovely shot.
It's one of my favourites, actually. I'd say that's one of my favourites.
He's a good photographer. He really is, Stuart.
Oh, he is. Yeah, there's no question about that.
Yeah, I do like his stuff.
There's a lot of very, very good photographs, no doubt, in this collection. And, hats off to anyone who got anywhere near, let's be honest.
Well done.
Yeah.
Amazing photography. Amazing. Something to aspire to.
But there is one, when you said which one, do I like, which I think will win, but from classic view for me, it has to be Sunset Over the... Dave, you're going to have to help me with this one, brother. MAWDDACH. Malvach Estuary. That looks beautiful. Oh, I absolutely love that image.
That spot right there, I did a video called, I think, Wales Broke My Camera, and Alan Cole said to me, you need to go up there because that is a fantastic viewpoint. And I didn't go quite up far enough, but I think that's the viewpoint you get to. It's just outside of Barmouth, isn't it, Dave? It's just... Yeah.
It is, yes. It's a classic view. Stephen Irons has done a number of videos from that exact spot.
Has he?
Yeah.
He's a good photographer.
It's one of those ones. He's an extremely good photographer.
Very good.
But the thing with that shot is that you really want the estuary at low water because you get all these lovely swirls and curls in the water that's left standing.
And that light that's coming through. Oh, beautiful.
Having said that, though, and without wanting to blow smoke up Dave's backside with this one, didn't you take a very similar, I know different location, very similar shot to that in one of your recent vlogs where you had that gorgeous light coming across the sea at the background? Very sort of similar composition with the light coming through.
Probably.
When you the vlog Dave that you had hundreds of images,
so many great shots, he can't even remember. It's just, did I? Probably. Which one was it? Let me just go through.
You're breaking up on me. Sorry, what was that?
The thing is, though, Dave, if you're not going to enter any of them, you're not going to win anything, are you? Come on, mate. Pull your finger out. I think what we'll do. I think what we'll do now is we'll do the new feature of the Pubcast that we're going to introduce. Whether it's a weekly one or not, I don't know. But we've had quite a few people asking us questions because we asked for a Q&A, and instead of cherry picking, and saying, "You right, Manny?"
Yeah. Thank you. I only want one. I only want one. No, I only want one. I've had... No, it's fine.
Have two, Daddy.
Take two.
You
Take
don't have
two.
two, Daddy.
Look,
3 for kids, 2 for Mally.
Don't try and make out you only have one, Daddy.
Yeah,
'cause
yeah.
You only have 6.
You lying rascal.
You're a pisshead, Daddy.
Can I have one? You can't get baby balls.
You can't. Don't get baby balls.
Get baby balls.
Baby.
Give me baby balls. Get baby balls.
Anyway, where were we?
Put me back in dark place.
So basically, we had plenty of people ask us questions, and instead of cherry picking the ones we want, I thought we'd do like a random, like put them in a random picker, and we'll pick one, and then we'll have to answer it. So let's see where we go. So I've loaded them all up, right? I've loaded them all up. Now I could be lying here, but I'm not. Trust me. So here we go.
what we need, we need some sort of jingle, some sort of Gary's random picker, some sort of kind of.
Gary's random picker.
There you go.
That's it. There you go. We'll have that from now on. Right. So here we go. Right. So Manny, if you want to go something like that, right? Ready? I'm doing it now.
Gary's random picker.
It's very Alan Partridge. I absolutely love it.
You're not going to believe what's come out.
Well,
you ready?
Alan Partridge.
It's the gimbal.
No, it's not. Are you ready to know what's come out? It's looking at looking at this year's landscape photography of the year winners.
No.
There's been a lot of heavily processed images to my eye. A lot of photographers harp on about getting it right in camera, but I bet they spend hours in Lightroom and Photoshop too. What about a competition for the best straight out of camera image from Julian Heritage? Well, we can't. I'm not sure we can talk. We kind of done that one, haven't we?
Done it.
Really?
Cover it.
Yeah.
Do it again,
Julian.
Right, Mally, go again.
Gary's random picker.
It's the same one.
Do you not take it out?
Go again.
Damn,
Ready? Go again. It comes out again. We're not doing it.
Have I got to do it again?
You got to do it again.
Gary's random pick.
Oh, I've got one. Right, isn't it? Right, okay. Okay. It says, I have a question for you all. Since the birth of photography, if there was one picture you could have taken, whose would it have been and what image? And that's Paul Hook.
Oh, that's so tough. How do you...
Killing me, man. You're killing me.
Oh, we should have looked at these before. How can you pick an image? The millions of images that are out there.
It's like picking your favourite film or your favourite song.
Yeah.
I'll tell you the most iconic image I can think of. Not necessarily one that I would have wanted to take, but the monk on fire.
The monk on fire?
Yeah, the monk on fire. Protesting. Yes. Was it what were they protesting against? Something? Was it the Vietnam War, or maybe it wasn't the Vietnam War, but it's something they were protesting and they were on fire. It was used on the cover of Rage Against the Machine album back in the day. That's an absolutely iconic. I think for me the most iconic images are street photos, documentary photos.
Yeah,
McCullen. Yeah.
So Gary, on that subject, the image that came to my mind is the screaming girl in the Vietnam War while she's running down the street.
Oh, naked. Running down the street naked.
Yeah, napalm.
Yeah.
Napalm, yeah.
And it's funny, the image that came to my mind, because I'm not even thinking landscape when I just think it's the guys sitting on the girder over New York.
Right.
when they're
Oh, yeah.
eating their
I'm
sandwiches.
glad I didn't take that though.
The girl playing tennis with her arse out.
Yeah.
Yes, got that on my wall.
Yeah.
That's so
Sorry-
good a picture.
sorry, folks.
I've got to get it.
Would have made you a bit of
But
cash.
that's
that
true.
one.
When you think of, say, images straight away, we've all thought of images with people in.
That's some more powerful images,
than,
the iconic images are the ones that capture a moment in time, aren't they? Rather than
What about the young girl, Arabian girl with the crystal blue eyes?
oh yeah,
Stephen McClurry, was it? Who was it now?
yeah. There was a thing about
National
that.
Geographic.
Yeah, I watched. Was it Tony and Chelsea Northrop did a big thing on that not long ago,
yeah.
and that whole thing was it set up? I think it was. Apparently, the girl didn't, or the
He didn't
parents
ask
of the girl.
permission.
Yeah, he didn't ask permission for the image, and the parents of the girl absolutely didn't want her to be in it because it was a real big thing, like religiously and
Yeah.
yeah. But still, just that type of image is just stunning, isn't it? Just sticks in your mind. It never goes
in your
away.
face.
Yeah, they're normally scenes of death, which is quite weird as well. They kind of linger on with the vultures waiting for the guy to die.
Robert
Carter-
Capa, the image, the Spanish Civil War,
Oh,
where there's a question whether it was set up or not.
yeah.
Was it Cuba? I might have got that wrong, I don't know.
Cuba.
But there again, street.
Jamie,
What, landscape?
Dave?
Anything landscape?
You got anything, Jamie and Dave? They're very quiet over there.
No, I was hoping this question
I
wasn't going
have.
to be picked. I ain't got a clue. The
I
only random one that comes to my mind is the one with Marilyn Monroe when her skirt's being blown up.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah. Brilliant image. Yeah.
Iconic.
well, I've got two, and they're both landscapes. Sorry.
Good. That's good.
No, that's good, Dave.
Yeah,
At last.
grand.
Well, the first one is a classic by Ansel Adams, but it's not something you'd expect. It's not a Yosemite image or an
Capitan.
Eastern Sierras. No, it's not. It's the moon over Hernandez, where he was heading home. He had one plate left, and he saw this moon over an adobe graveyard
Yeah.
down in sort of, I think it was Southern California or just over the border in Nevada.
Tetons, is it?
And he grabbed the shot. No, it's not.
Oh, the
classic
graveyard.
Ansel Adams. The graveyard shot. Yeah,
Yes.
that would be one. The other is one of Nick Livesey's because it was just so epic. Because I know exactly where it was taken and the conditions. It's the summit of El Dival, and he's looking
The inversion day.
southwest. No, it's a January sunset. He climbs this mountain with a friend in January, and he gets the sun right on the horizon, and he's knee deep in snow, and it's a tough climb without any snow. And just, I know what went into the photograph. I don't think it's in there actually.
It's available in all good bookshops now.
It was actually it was really big in his gallery, and he sold it, and I don't think he's reprinted it. I haven't seen it since, but an amazing shot because of the effort. I said to him it must have been a nightmare getting down, because obviously they came down in the dark, and he said, "Oh no problem at all." I thought, you lying bastard.
There's quite a good one I've seen recently with some wild garlic in a forest.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind taking that one, I'll be honest.
Yeah,
We're
I'll
going to do
tell
another
you-
one. We're going to do another one. Can we do
Another question?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think we
come on, let's have
probably
another
should.
Gary's random picker.
Yeah.
Mally, go for it.
Can you remember the tune, Manny? Because I can't.
Gary's random picker.
Haven't started it yet. Hang on. Go again. Right, here we go.
You got to do that again.
Go on, Manny. Start now. Go on. Here we go.
Hold on.
Amateur.
If this is the landscape photography one,
Are you ready?
Ending
Go
the
for it.
fucking
Why does
podcast
me
now.
can smell of stale milk?
Right, you ready? Go.
Gary's random picker.
This one, okay, so this one is from Martin Bootnick, and he says, "What made you guys choose photography as a hobby in the first place?"
Oh, good question.
That is a good question.
Well, I think I've said this before. It's for me. It almost goes back to the days of fishing. This is almost how I see this. When I used to fish, and I used to look up at the night sky, and that's what got me interested in astronomy. And from astronomy, I went to astrophotography, and from astrophotography, I went to landscape photography. So it's quite funny how you kind of remember back all these little turns of events that actually kind of led up to the present day. But for me, it was when, I think I spoke about this before, the amount of money that I invested into my astrophotography rig, when I worked out how much money each image cost me, was frightening. And then when I moved over to kind of landscape, almost for something to do, I realised it was so much more accessible in the UK. Whereas once I was craving clear skies, once I moved over to landscape, I didn't want clear skies. I was craving cloudy skies and dramatic scenes, which you're going to get far more of in the UK. So that's how it came about for me.
I was going to mention fishing as well, actually, because I used to be a coarse fisherman and a pike fisherman when I was younger, and I think there is a similarity between, you know, are you going to catch anything? Are you not going to catch anything? Are you going to get a decent shot? Are you not going to get a decent shot? And I think there's a similarity there in terms of photography and fishing. But I think why I started photography, you know, apart from that analogy, I'm not sure, but I can probably comment why I went into landscape photography particularly, and I think that was because, and I wrote a blog recently this week. If anybody is interested in reading it,
Very
That
good.
is an unbelievably unashamed
Brilliant.
plug.
yeah,
Wonderfully done.
We
Slick.
We try.
Just like to add that my photo's on the bottom of that blog post.
Link down below.
It is, yeah. But no, I was asked to just do a vlog about photography and the fens and things like that, which I did. And in the beginning of the describing why I got into it, I mentioned that I was brought up in the middle of the fens, obviously on an arable farm, not an horrible farm, James, an arable farm.
Yeah, filthy, no, horrible, filthy, bad childhood. I understand.
How many fingers have you got?
Oh, 16, yeah. But I spent all of my youth out in the landscape, in the literally my childhood was spent out and about, whether that was helping mum and dad on the farm or whether it was out playing with my mates, and my whole life was spent outdoors. And I think, you know, that time as a child spent outdoors, you just get familiar with the outdoors and you begin to appreciate it for what it is. And I think then once I got older and wanted to go into photography, I thought, well, capturing the beauty of the outdoors is something that, you know, appeals to me, really. So I think that's where I moved and why I moved to landscape photography particularly.
Do you know what? Sorry, I don't want to jump in, but very quickly. I know we're all about the same age, and everyone thinks that their particular age, you know, or the time they grew up in was the best. But don't you think we've lived through the best times where we was probably one of the last generations that was encouraged? Just go out and
Go
play.
outside.
Go out
on
and
your
play.
bike.
Mum
and Dad didn't worry about
me
it.
alone. Go with your football. Get your bike. Go out with your mates.
Yeah,
Just
go
go over
further.
the woods.
Make a den.
Keep going.
Exactly. You know, now it's like,
Trails.
oh, here's your iPad. Go on the computer. Go with it.
I remember being an 11-year-old
be
kid,
out.
being an 11-year-old kid and just being out from dawn till dusk.
All the time.
Yeah. Just you go out, you knock round for your mates, wouldn't you? We'd go out,
You used to get them ring patches of dirt where you've been in dusty, been in that much dirt. You've been out that long, you get ring patches of dirt.
Ringworm.
Yeah.
No, it was
It's
It's
to wash
true though.
them.
It's true nowadays. You wouldn't, like, I got kids. I wouldn't let them out at 11 to go and play. I don't.
The
I
media's
actually
frightening you.
I don't think the world's a more dangerous place. I'll be honest with you. I think it's exactly the same as it was, but it's just that we
What's
know
online?
We know it. Yeah, exactly.
What's
We're
online? WAP dance.
Yeah.
Wet ass pussy. Give
What's
up.
all that about?
What are you
What?
talking
And kids?
about?
Oh, abs.
You don't
It's in
want to know.
TikTok.
Cardigan Brown, as I like to call her.
Cardi B.
You
yeah.
youngsters you were all having a good time out and about. At around about the same time, I was chasing.
Oh,
He's gone. What
Chasing
was he
what?
chasing?
Chasing what?
Oh no!
What
Right,
was
have
he
a competition.
chasing, Dave?
Let's have a competition. Viewers, fill the gap.
Yeah, because Dave, your volume's gone,
What
Dave.
was Dave chasing?
You've
Do a
gone.
jingle, Mally. What's the jingle for Dave?
That's the same
Dragons.
Chasing.
Chasing women.
Oh, okay. There you go. What, 11?
No, I'm a
why
lot
not?
older than you lot. I was chasing women pre-AIDS.
Before you got what?
Anyway,
Creatives then.
we've only got like 2 answers of why we got into photography. So before
Oh
we
yeah,
got
photography.
sidetracked,
Right. Okay. So I'm a fisherman as well, but I still am, and that's got nothing to do with photography whatsoever. I don't know. I was kind of like you guys though. I was out and about as a youngster, and I thought, oh, wouldn't it be nice to be able to take pictures of the great stuff that I'm seeing?
Yeah.
And I got into it in about 1980 with a decent SLR camera, and that was that really. There wasn't a sort of conscious, oh, I think I'll try this. It was, oh, I've got to buy a camera because I now have a wage and I can live off baked beans.
But have a nice camera.
Baked beans have got a lot to answer for. Barb.
what about you, Maddie? What's your reasoning?
Oh, it comes down to heritage, history. It comes down to family. It comes down to going out. And funny enough, fishing's involved. Grandad, blackberry picking, being outside, going into the woodland, going and finding places that my dad had taken me down. A place in Gloucester called, in the Forest of Dean, a place called Lydney, and we'd go off all day and we'd walk like 12 miles. And my dad always said, you'll never get lost. You can't get. We always got lost. But we'd always find our way back, either by train track or whatever. And I was given a Kodak Instamatic, and that
Mate,
was it.
if they made Deliverance in the UK, it would be in the Forest of Dean.
Yeah.
Ding 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 ding.
Wonderful place, though. Wonderful place. Just, such amazing memories. But yeah, you're probably right there. I saw a few wild boar as well. I never squealed like one, but
I always wondered who Dean was.
Forest of Dean.
Yeah, who is Dean?
Was he?
He's an earl, wasn't he?
Yeah, no, I was. Yeah.
No idea, just made that up.
It could have been the Earl of Dean. I don't know who he was, but it's a fantastic place round
Great
Simmons
Dean.
Yacht and off your way up to St. Bright Evil's, a very historic place, a wonderful place in this country, with some oak trees that are very, very old. Just outside of the place called Ludlow, I don't know if it's still there, but at one point it was one of the oldest trees in the country. Unbelievable. You could climb, 3 or 4 people could climb inside this tree. It was massive oak tree, and I took pictures of that with old film cameras, and that was it really. It comes down to being a kid, your connection as a kid, isn't it? And then it follows you for the rest of your life.
Do you find that more recently, going out with your camera now to those places that you visited as a kid, it brings back so many memories, and that's another reason probably why it attracts you there. You've got that connection with it, and therefore you can remember all the things you used to do as a kid. And yeah. No, I find that I've loved going back to loads of places locally around here that I used to go with mum and dad as a kid, and it's just great to revisit them now and then capture them. I'm loving.
I still
that.
go
It's
into
really-
woodlands now. Yeah, the local woodlands where I grew up. Still go there now. And it's just great to see it in a different perspective now, with a camera in your hand.
Yeah.
So what was your experience, James? Why did you get into it?
I think for me, it's just feeding my creative side. I've always been creative. When I was really young, I used to love drawing. I passed graphic design. I passed all graphic design. I nearly went down your route, to be honest, Mally, at one stage.
Good dogs, that.
Yeah. Then I moved on to poetry. Wrote a bit of poetry as well, in the early 20s. And so
That's something for next week.
Yeah. Oh, I'm ready.
Yeah.
I'll be ready for you. And
I
of
like
course,
a good limerick.
Oh yes. You might be pleasantly
Are you
surprised.
slightly kind of Pam Ayres?
What do you mean? Talk like that, you mean?
Hammers.
There once was a boy called Johnny.
I've got to say, James was more like Jim Morrison.
Yeah,
Oh, that kind of poet. I reckon he was, actually.
Yeah, his head buried deep within the
Yeah.
Blackberry book.
You've read one, haven't you, Mally?
I have. Awesome.
That'll be next week.
Very good. Seriously, very good.
Oh no, I believe
published
it.
Is it sort of John Cooper Clarke delivery?
Ish, yes. No.
It's a bit more moist.
Bit more beatnik.
Yeah, a bit more. 60s.
Bit more drug fueled.
Oh, Jack Kerouac.
Yes, that era.
Okay.
Well, how
Yes,
about this
Phoenix.
then? Next week's pubcast, we have an opening monologue from Mr. Burns.
James.
I think he needs your chair,
Oh,
Darren.
yes, definitely.
He needs
I
your chair.
like that.
I'll stick it in the
Definitely.
post, mate.
Definitely.
FedEx.
So come on, Gary. How did you get into landscape?
Well, I was going to say mine's very similar to James. Really, I'm a bit of a failed creative. I love art. I'm not very good at not very good at it. I've always loved design. I did art and design at school, and I think I remember probably my earliest memory of photography. I was about 11 or 12, and I remember being on holiday, and my mum and dad gave me one of those throwaway, the throwaway cameras with the.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm not sure it was a throwaway one back then.
Nikon.
Who
had it with the
Nikon.
flash on top,
Yeah.
with the 4 bulbs on top.
Yeah,
Yes.
It was just an old camera.
Really
and
old.
I remember going in. We were in Wales at Butlins in Fwelly, and I remember my two sisters sitting.
Where was that?
Oh, don't even. What's it called? Go on, Dave. Go on, you can tell me.
Puffelli.
What is it
Close
called?
enough.
What is it
Rill.
called? Where-
Swansea.
What is it? Go on, Dave.
Rill.
Go on.
Cardiff.
Anyway, in North Wales, at this holiday camp, and I remember my two sisters sitting on this cliff, sort of. It wasn't on a cliff, but it was at the top, and I remember looking at it and taking the shot and thinking, actually, I need to get a bit lower. If I get a bit lower, I can get a really lovely view, and it's like just from there, really. And
Was it a pano?
yeah, but
I'll
back
take
in the
54
day,
shots, one of them work.
you used to have to take each shot, and then when they got developed, you used to have to sellotape them all together.
At least you got them developed. The trouble is with these disposables, you take a load of pictures and then chuck them away.
I'll be honest with you, 4 or 5 of them were of my thumb. Well, at least I told everyone that was my thumb. It's just, I don't know, just I've always been creative. So whether it's photography or designing stuff on the computer or a bit of drawing, that's always what's sort of got me going,
I'll tell you what we should do, actually. We should
Scrap that lot.
I don't know if anybody has got on their
Just
computer-
forget it.
their-
Oh no, should we just scrape it? It didn't work.
No,
It just don't work. We sport about an hour of it, but I don't think it works. You know what I mean? I need a pay.
Van Dyke from the north.
That's too good.
Go, what were you saying anyway, Darren? Go on.
Has anyone got their first landscape image that they ever took that they actually thought, actually, this is quite a nice image?
Yeah.
It actually started us on the road.
See?
Yeah. It's in
got it here.
in slides though. It's in
No, not this week.
Oh,
next
save
week.
it for next
Oh,
week.
Next week.
Yeah,
Next
it's
week.
I have a load of Kodak slides, and do you know what I might do? Set the projector up and everything, and show you a bit.
Some
'cause
dodgy music.
I've been meaning to do a vlog on it for quite some time, and the slides are from like 1979, 80, and the place is like I say, where it's Wales and Gloucestershire and
Yeah, but have you
places
got
like-
one? Have you just got one photo that you. Well, why don't we
Stands
do that?
out.
Why don't we say that now? So then all 6 of us know to get that ready for next week. There's
So
So
this
it's
is
one
the
of
one that
our
inspired us to get into landscape
So
photography.
it might not be any good. It might, when you look back
Yeah.
and what your first photo, but your first
It ain't going to be
photo
any good, trust me.
that you think actually, So yeah.
It's
I'm not sure mine
it's
are any
so
good
heavily
now, let
processed.
alone 10 years ago, whenever it was.
The thing is about my shot, right? I'll talk about it next week.
Yeah, okay, all right. Good idea.
F22.
That's a really good idea,
Yeah,
Darren. So
yeah,
next week,
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
yeah,
It's a good idea, great idea.
Yeah, we'll
You
keep
come
that
out with them
one.
every now and
You
again,
see?
don't you?
Keep that idea.
We didn't actually say we were going, so you was a bit preemptive with that, Dazzler, because you normally save them till the very end.
But as I say, old Dick Van Dyke interrupted me, and it was that was a good impression, though, James. Bit of Chaz and Dave.
Anyway, with that, do you know what? I think we probably
I think
talked enough. I think we probably talked enough.
hang on.
Oh, hang on.
Oh, yeah.
Of course it is. Of course it is.
Go on.
No, but
Go
when
on.
I say what I'm going to say, you're all going to go, oh, yeah, of course.
Cool.
I know what it is now.
We need to give a big shout out to Mark McNeil.
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
Thank
Mark
you.
McNeil and Carl
Thank
Edwards.
you.
Carl
Okay.
Edwards, both suffering with coronavirus.
Let's do it. Stop. Go.
What?
It was like we stumbled into it. We need to give a shout out to him.
Before we go, Gary, go, I'd just like to go.
All right, okay, all right, okay.
So
okay.
now I'm
That's
getting,
what
no,
I meant.
I'm
Thanks,
getting no
James.
credit
Thanks.
for
God,
this.
we're not
now.
very professional
let's
at this.
cut and do
Put
this
your-
professional.
You do it, Darren.
Put your clapperboard away.
Yeah,
when
go
you're
on,
ready.
Darren. You can.
Get your clapperboard. No, I was just
No,
saying.
I'm
I just think
Go on,
we-
Darren.
joking aside, obviously, I just think we should give a shout out to Mark McNeil, who's been incredibly poorly this week with COVID, and I just hope he gets better soon. I hope he's over the worst. And who else was it, Gary? You were
Carl
saying?
Edwards.
Carl
Yeah, he
Edwards, of
tweeted
course,
today
yeah.
to say he's got COVID-19 as well. So, to both of you guys, from all of us, I mean, good friends of the Pubcast, good friends outside the Pubcast in some instances.
Aye.
Get well soon, and let's hope that there's no lasting effects and that you're back out taking photos before too long. So
Yeah, definitely.
Get well soon, guys.
Get well.
yeah,
cheers, guys.
yeah, indeed, yeah. Cheers, and to anyone else, in fact, anyone else out there who's suffering in whatever respect that may be, or knows anyone, then we all wish you well, and these times are difficult. And we wish you well. So
Yeah, definitely.
Well said.
Yeah.
anyway,
Cheers,
I think
guys.
that's it for this week on that sort of slightly somber note. But we hope you've enjoyed the podcast. We've had a interesting, I would say, experience this week. We're back next week with some poetry and some really crappy photos. I get the feeling, certainly from my end. Anyway,
To that.
yeah. Anyway, we'll see you all next week, and until then, goodbye. Oh, yeah, Darren, did you want to say something, or you put your? Go on. What is it?
Are we going to answer any more questions?
Next
No.
week? Yeah,
Next
could
week.
say-
Oh, next week, yeah.
Sit there.
yeah. If you want to get any more questions in, actually, if you haven't asked any, and you want us to, add them to the random picker,
If you like Mally's jingle,
just to hear Manny's
then
jingle, really,
enter
for anything
below.
else, then please do. Anyway, see you all next week, and thanks for watching and listening. Goodbye.
See ya.
See you
Goodbye.
guys. Bye. Bye.
Say!